Hello, my name's Andy, I'm a Ginger Gamer. Welcome to episode 11. Now, it's been a long time since I've done an update for you on my Prehistoric Canada map, which is what you can see here. Now, there's many reasons for that. Most of all, I've just been really caught up in actually making things for the map, which is great. So I've got lots to show you. I think when I last showed you this map, I'd made one habitat for, I think, a Dilophosaurus, and I'd made a kind of raised restaurant area, and I'd done the first of a few steps down a cliffside, a hillside, that sort of thing. I've done a lot of work since then, but I'm not going to start you back where I finished. I'm actually going to start you at what will be the arrival point, the entry point to the park, and it will be here, what you can see now, but there's lots of work to do there. Right back in the distance you can see what is actually the entry and is the Animal Creation Centre. I think that's what they're called, I can't remember, but they're all over there temporarily. They will be moved around here in the fullness of time. Right, so this will be the first habitat, and I will put a lot of buildings here, like shops and things like that. I may actually take these trees out. So a lot of what you see around most of the habitats could be considered placeholder, or at least things I may remove or add to, but we'll see. Anyway, so this is the first habitat, as I say, and there's a couple of things to point out from a sort of map building sense. What I was keen to have, as you can see here, is to use this natural river as part of the habitat and their source of water for the animals in it. And so what I made, actually, I first made this for a habitat you're going to see in a minute, made a kind of fence that keeps in keeping with the rest of the fencing around the habitat, but it was actually raised slightly above the water level, but not high enough that animals can get underneath it, but allows the water to flow through. And I think that's quite good. Obviously none of it is really realistic, because, you know, these are dinosaurs. I think most of the fencing in lots of the games that we have for building dinosaur parks wouldn't actually be up to the job. So I'm not too worried about it being perfect realism. And I did jokingly say on the Prehistoric Kingdom Discord the other day that I build in quite a lot of fragility, because future updates of the game that have animals getting angry more and busting out of fences and things like that, it's going to make it quite interesting. I did say also the Prehistoric City map, once more and more behaviours are added to the game, it'll be interesting to go and revisit those maps and see what the animals do. Anyway, you enter into the first exhibit up this pathway, up these steps, and then there's a nice sort of raised area that you can view the Triceratops from. Now, all of the habitats in this park are kind of based on environments, natural environments you might find in Canada, which is why it's called Prehistoric Canada map. Now, it may stay being called Prehistoric Canada, or it may be called something different, but for now on I'm kind of basing it on some environments you might find in Canada. And I do apologise to people who live in Canada, because I'm sure I haven't always got it particularly spot on, and obviously I can only use what's available in the game. But anyway, as you can see, they've got quite a nice habitat. It's got obviously a nice water source and a river, and also lots of places to forage for food. Now you then go down these steps, and then down to a slightly raised area, and then you can follow this path. And again, most of the fences that I've got around my exhibits are the glass fencing, and I've added a kind of bespoke log effect around them to frame it. And the reason I'm using the glass fencing, I think I said in the last episode, is one, I think it's good because it allows a lot of viewpoints for the animals. It makes the animals easier to see. I do wish they had the same kind of glass fencing that they've got in Prehistoric Zoo, in Planet Zoo, where you can actually change the sort of mirrored effect so the animals can't see out but you can see in. That would be good. But also, as well as it giving you easy viewing of the animals, it also means it blends quite well into the exhibit if I hide it with trees. So that's sort of another reason for doing it. Anyway, work my way down here. I may improve this as time goes on. I'm not totally happy with all of this. And then you get here, and there's some toilets, which are similar to the toilets I put in the first area I created. And there's some steps up that hillside there, which will go up in a bit. But this bit I really like. Now, I don't think this is super realistic, and I think I could probably make it better, but I think this would be a really cool area if you were to really go to a prehistoric zoo of some kind. So it's got just a little drinks mini cafe area there, and this large seated area that goes across the river, and it allows you to sit and watch the animals, which would be really cool, I think. Turn it back onto that, turn off the HUD. Yeah, so you get to see them, and I've got some sort of enrichment food items there, and that would be quite a cool place. And you can actually look there as well, which shows off the next enclosure down the way, which we'll get to in a bit. Right, so I don't know how well this is going. It's hard to control. Well, I find it too. So we'll go up these steps all the way up to here, and we'll walk along there, and we'll start to see the next enclosure, which you saw a little bit of. And this is the Kamasaurus. I think that's a Kamasaurus. I'm not very good at pronouncing dinosaur names. If it's not a Triceratops or a Tyrannosaurus, I'm pretty awful. I do apologise ahead of time. But yeah, this is the first sight you get, and I've got the sort of binocular viewing bit there as well. And obviously you can view them from there, or you can continue down this path, down those steps, and you can obviously have another look from the bridge and view them. Or you can also go down here to path here and another glass fencing, and you can see the Kamasaurus having a bit of a sleep there. And that one, I didn't realise I put 5 in. Let's get off the path and have a look. I do put a lot of ground foliage because in the exhibits, one, because I think it looks good. That's first and foremost why. But also because, sorry, something went wrong with my computer then. But also because I'm not that keen on the grass textures. I'm not really criticising the makers of the game, because I think it's a brilliant game, but I'm not that keen on just having grass. So I do a lot of ground foliage, or I take the grass out completely, which is what I did in the Triceratops enclosure. Pretty much went over with some sort of earthy texture and then put some ground foliage on top. But there you go. We go around here, follow this path around, and we come out to one of my favourite bits that I made in this so far, and that's just this kind of beach area here by the river. And if you look further down, you can see the bridge, which we will go across in a bit. And it's a nice little rest stop, really, with another place to buy some drinks and some toilets and some benches, and you can sit there and have a picnic. Because this park will be quite large and very hilly, lots of steps, it will be quite tiring, so I do kind of build in a lot of places to eat and drink and have a rest. Now, the reason I've got that there is I will put a sign here telling you the next sort of area that you're coming to. But this is another, wrong button, another large staircase up the side of the hill, and then we come to the next enclosure. Now, I deliberately made this all kind of uneven and sort of a muddy kind of slope because I really wanted to build this walkway. It seemed quite interesting to me. And again, it's kind of glass fencing. And this is for Dilophosaurus, which they only escape every 5 or 10 minutes. The dinosaurs escape really easy without there being any breaks or climbable or jumpable positions. They do just find their way out, which I don't really mind. I don't really care too much about that. And this is their habitat. If we go into their habitat, it's got a nice water area, which I think I want to add some bits to that and make that a little bit more, not entirely natural, but make it a little better looking. I think it'd look better. And as you can see, that's another reason why I like the glass fencing, because it does kind of blend in at the background there, and he's hidden among the trees. And then there's another cliff edge as we go up the hillside. Yeah, that's the Dilophosaurus habitat. Now we go back to this kind of slightly raised walkway and follow around, and we come to the habitat that I made last time, which is the Drysaurus habitat, which I think is a little bit overstocked. I think maybe that's a little bit too many in there, but they're doing all right. So click on one. Obviously, I'm playing in sandbox and everything's 100% and everything's great and they're loving life. I'm not sure whether that would be the case. I think it's quite a nice environment though. Turn off the HUD again. Right, and moving on from here, because obviously I showed that last time, and I showed this walkway up the hillside. Oh, sorry. I'm really bad at controlling this. Oh, there we go. Up there, up to the side, back on the path, and then if you look down there, you can see the Drysaurus habitat and their little pond and the raised restaurant area over there, and then back down. Yeah, and then that large raised. So if you didn't watch this last time, you can get some food, grab that, go and sit out here and watch the Drysauruses, which I think is good. Now, after here, the only way through the rest of the park is across this bridge. So if, like me in real life, you hate heights, you're not really going to enjoy that very much, but it's the only way around to the rest of the path. And I'll just throw you in a tree. There we go. And now we come to the next habitat. And you get into it, and you literally get into the habitat on this one, down all these stairs, and it's almost like you're in your habitat and the animals are around you. And I can't remember the name of these animals. We'll have a look on this nice little sign here. Torvosaurus. So there they are. And I made this habitat, and I spent a lot of time on, I'll just show you this, there's also a raised eating area, so you can walk around there and watch the animals through the glass windows, or you can sit up here and eat and watch them. I made this area, as I was saying, and I wasn't really sure what animals I was going to put in there. I tried the Triceratops and I didn't like it. I thought it was a little bit too small. I wanted quite a large area for them. And in the end, I put these on. And he seems to be slightly half asleep as he stood there. And I spent quite a long time making this pond area and the habitat in general. And I'm kind of happy with it. I did want to make places look kind of worn away, because that's normally where they walk, because they're carnivores. They wouldn't spend so much time in the kind of the areas with foliage, unless they were hunting, I guess, or sleeping, as this one's doing over here. This is probably the habitat I'm least happy with. I'm not that happy with this area where guests would be. He's having lunch. Or this raised seating restaurant area over here. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I may leave it, or I may tinker with it over time. But anyway, to get out of here, you have to go up these steps. You can, of course, bypass that habitat completely. As you can see, you can just walk down here and bypass the habitat completely. And then you go up some more steps, and we come to my favourite. I'd say it's my favourite habitat that I've made. It's utterly unrealistic. It would be totally unsafe. There's a joke a British comedian made about when it was the next film for Jurassic World, is who keeps giving these businesses, business liability insurance, because they never would, but you would never get insurance for this. So basically what this is a kind of treetop walkway, which I really like, and is based on a real treetop walkway that's in a park in England. But it's not a park with animals, and it's certainly not a park with Brachiosaurus is in. Now they can get under this walkway, it looks like they can't, but they actually pass under it quite nicely. And I love this treetop walkway. I think it would be amazing to actually walk along there, almost at the tops of the trees, and watch the Brachiosauruses feed and eat. I'm kind of betting on the fact they're quite gentle, serene animals who wouldn't bother humans much. But it's a pretty risky environment, but I really like the idea, so I stuck with it. And I've made a little, it's quite a deep bit of water, I think. Let me go, let's just have a little dip in it. No, it's not actually that deep. But it's certainly enough for them to walk in and have a bath or have a drink. You see, this one is it's kind of directly at head height. So if they are lovely and gentle and serene animals who wouldn't be bothered by humans, I think it's just not safe, is it? I can't really pretend it is, and they would just have to give it a little nudge and it would fall over. But I like it as a concept, even if in real life, which obviously none of this is, it would be entirely unsafe. So, there's a brief glimpse of the park. Sorry for my poor controls. When I do a proper park tour, I will do a lot better filming. I do hope at some point the makers of the game will allow you to kind of inhabit a guest and walk around the park as a guest would. That would be really good. I think they can. Do they do that at Jurassic World, or is it Planet Zoo? I'm not sure which one. I've got both the games, but it's ages since I've played them, because I spent, I think, almost 900 hours on Prehistoric Kingdom so far. So yeah, so this Brachiosaurus exhibit is basically up the hill, directly up from the Triceratops exhibit. But you work your way all the way around there and through all the other parks, and you get up to here. Now, I'm probably going to not work around the hillside. I'm going to go up again. So the next exhibit is going to be here, and then moving upwards to the next levels. I may flatten some of these off. I may work up them as I already have, using steps and more kind of organic muddy stairways. It's quite difficult because you can't really, even on a fairly gentle slope, you can't really add the paths onto upwards pieces of terrain, which is a little bit annoying, and that's something else that could change. But it kind of makes you be a bit creative, which is no bad thing. Brachiosaurus are brilliant in this game. I really like them. Yeah, they're very much at head height, and it would be quite dangerous. But yeah, it's staying. I mean, there's ways I could protect it. I could put more trees. Like I've got trees here, I could have the trees further out, sort of here, and that means Brachiosaurus wouldn't necessarily be able to get to people. Or I could put a structure around it to stop them being able to get to it. But we'll see. We'll see as the dinosaurs' behaviour changes over time, as the game's updated. We'll see how risky this gets. But I'm quite pleased with it from just a sort of creative point of view, and yeah, it would be cool. You know, I may put T-Rexes in here, not with the Brachiosaurus, but that could be quite fun. But anyway, that's the park as it stands. As I say, you know, when I first showed you the park, I'd only done kind of area over here really, and so I've done a lot of work since my last update video. I'm not sure what animal I'm going to do next. As I say, it will be over here and then maybe moving up here as well. I'm not sure what animal I'm going to do next. I really want to do the T-Rex at some point, but I haven't decided what sort of enclosure I want to put the T-Rexes in. So what I'm kind of doing is having an idea for an enclosure, or for a feature of an enclosure, like I did with the sort of fence bridge over the river, or with the seated area over the river. Having ideas like that, and then working out the best animal for it, or having an idea for an animal, like I really wanted the treetop pathway for the Brachiosaurus, and then making it like that. So I'm not sure what I'm doing next. One of the things I really want to get good at is making waterfalls, and I've seen people make kind of rapids and things, and I really want to learn how to do that as well, because that would make for a good features in environments as well. So yeah, so my next work now, sorry, I'm waffling, I'm doing this kind of live as it were. None of these enclosures I'm really considering, or habitats, sorry, I'm really considering as 100% finished. All of them need a little bit of tinkering to a lesser or greater degree. I would say maybe the Drysaurus habitat over here, maybe I would say that's finished. And except for the fact I probably would take a couple of them out. I think there's probably too many in there. But the rest of it, none of it's really finished. I'm not very happy with this area here. I'm kind of happy for the area that Kamasaurus spend most of their time in, which is this side. They don't really come over here because there isn't really anything for them over there. I might put some feeders over there to kind of entice them over, but most of it I think is still to be considered a work in progress. But I'll let you spot when I actually call this map finished how much I actually do change. But anyway, so yes, the next area is going to be up here. If you've got any ideas for an enclosure, or ideas for what animal for me to do next, then please let me know. I'm not doing all dinosaurs in one area, then all mammals in another. It's purely chance that so far all I've done is dinosaurs and I haven't done mammals yet. So if you've got any ideas for the mammoths or saber-toothed cats, let me know, and I'll be happy to possibly include them. The map will be quite heavy with trees, partly because, you know, the conceit for this map is that it's built into a wooded hillside. As you can see, I think if you've seen this before, I've made a huge kind of can't think of the right word, but I've made a huge kind of hillside on which to work on, and I'm not going to fill all of this. I can't pretend I will. So this won't, I think if I did fill it all, it would take me, you know, 1,000 hours, and the frame rate would be down to about 10 frames a second. The prehistoric city map that I made took me about 300 hours, and I've worked about 90 hours on this map. A lot of that has been kind of trial and error stuff, so as time's gone on, it's been quicker to make the environments. Certainly if you consider all these staircases and things like that, that is really a copy and paste, and with a little bit of tweaking job now, rather than the sort of 5 to 10 hours it took me to make them the first time. Although, you know, this actually was quite quick. all of these are separate segments, and I can kind of just do a copy and paste and join them together. And obviously all of the supports are the same support, copy and pasted. So that's all. In terms of grouping things together, the supports are one group, and then the walkway is another group, which allowed me to play with the height a little bit rather than make it all one group. Yeah, I'm not sure how people do it. That's how I do it anyway. Right, so I think I've waffled enough. Thank you very, very much for watching. If you are still watching, please think about subscribing. Please add comments. Please like, please dislike. Any kind of interactions would be great. And if you're one of the people who has commented, thank you very much. I really do appreciate it. I'm a little bit slow in keeping up with things, but I will, as you can see from how long it took me to update this. I do post really regularly, probably every other day, to the Planet Kingdom Discord, usually in the screenshot section. So as I do each habitat, I usually post about 10 pictures. I think it's because 10's the maximum. I do play around a lot with the photo mode in this game, which I think is brilliant. I probably overdo depth of field and bloom and stuff, which I know, lots of people do. But yeah, so if you like this, please like, please subscribe, and I will see you next time.